I'm Grace Torrey, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Torrey, and I'm back with a whole new podcast episode. Today we are going to be talking about how to become more restful, more mindful, more calm, present, content, whatever word you want to call it, for just being in a state of being chill when you have major anxiety and you also don't really know how to be restful. So as you guys probably have guessed, I am a very anxious girly. I have a lot of anxiety, diagnosed a lot of anxiety, lots going on. And in order to combat that, one thing that I have kind of figured out is I need to rest more. So a little bit of a backstory. I went to an event this weekend and there was a tarot reader there. And I hadn't had a reading in a very long time, and I thought, I'm kind of at a crossroads with my career. I think it would be good to get a reading and just see kind of what's going on. Just a silly, goofy, fun time while we're here. And she basically told me that I have way too much on my plate and I need to rest in order to let new ideas come in, because my plate is so full. I'm not giving myself any space for new ideas or anything, and I'm overworked, which I know that. That is something that I'm aware of. I think it just hits different when someone else tells you versus you telling yourself that. So I decided I was going to take it way more seriously, which means I need to learn how to rest, because I genuinely don't know how. I am working from 7 a.m. to 10 or 11 p.m. and I kind of panic when I try to sit down and rest, because I'm like, no, I need to be doing something. I need to be doing something right now. Why am I not doing something? And I genuinely don't know how to rest. So starting this new journey, I thought that I would kind of research different ways to be more mindful, rest, present, all the things, while being super anxious and not really knowing how to do it or how to calm your mind. So I thought that I would share these tips with you. If you have any tips, please feel free to comment them below if you're on a platform where you're capable of doing that, or just DM me on Instagram. I would love for this to be a community discussion, and if you're struggling, you're not alone. We're gonna get through this together, and we're gonna be more restful, more mindful, more content together. We're gonna change our lives and become better at this together. So yeah, I don't think I really have any life updates. We're finally putting Christmas up today. I don't think I told you guys, but my bathroom totally flooded, completely flooded. So that was why we hadn't done Christmas yet. Obviously, that kind of took precedent over doing Christmas, and we had to push it back. So today, Josh and I are both off, and we're gonna do it. And we started, but then we had to go get more Christmas lights, so I just took the break to film, edit, all that good stuff, and then I will go back to doing it after this. So that's really the only life update I have going on right now. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Don't forget to follow on whatever platform you're listening on. Leave a like, a comment, a rating, review, all of those super awesome things that help me out. If you wanna, it would mean a lot to me. But other than that, let's go ahead and jump on in. So our first tip, I kind of have to explain it a little because there is a background to it, but the first thing that helps you be more restful, present, all of those things, is to focus on your breathing. So this is helpful for me in a scenario, and let me explain that scenario to you right now. If I am sitting down to rest, essentially, I need to be doing something. And so I kind of panic because I'm like, well, what do I do? How do you rest? I don't know. What do I do to rest? I'm not doing anything. And so focusing on my breathing kind of tricks my brain, because my brain is focusing on something and it thinks that we're doing something, but we're calming ourselves. And then the act of focusing on my breathing and breathing in and breathing out and kind of having a meditative breathing pattern calms me down, and then I trick myself into being more restful. So definitely a good trick if you panic with resting and you almost don't know what to do and you start to overthink and you panic, essentially, that's the best word for it. Then focus on your breathing. That's step one. Number two of things you can do when you're resting, because when you're resting, you're doing things for the most part. You're not doing anything super, super productive. You're watching TV or taking a nap or sleeping in. But one thing I do that really, really gets me into the mindset after I focus on my breathing and everything, is I love to meditate. I love to meditate. I am so burnt out. I don't even think I can effectively meditate right now because my brain just doesn't work. It's so fried. But meditating is such a good way to rest. You really think about nothing, and once you master the art of allowing your brain to go to that place of thinking about nothing, it is so meditative, and you really get like new ideas. You kind of like refresh your brain and do a hard reset in a good way. Like, it's just like a good habit to add to your routine if you don't do it already, and I consider meditating resting, so I definitely would recommend that as well. So this was one that I was kind of confused about, and not that I was confused, I just hadn't thought about it before, and that is to limit your time on social media. I did not realize that social media was making me restless, but now that I really think about it, it does, because when I'm constantly comparing myself to everyone else, which whether you want to admit that you compare yourself to everyone on social media or not, you do, whether it's subconsciously or you are aware of it, you're comparing yourself. When I'm constantly doing that, it makes me want to constantly work to better myself, which is not a bad thing. Like, using it as a motivation is not a bad thing. However, if you are using it to motivate yourself and you never allow yourself the time to rest, it can be very toxic. So a lot of people said limiting your time on social media or completely getting off of social media is the best way to allow yourself more rest, more peacefulness, being more present, all of the good things we're talking about. So I am definitely going to limit that more. Obviously, I do it for work, so there is a certain extent of where I have to be on there, but if I'm just doom scrolling or I'm just like cruising on Facebook, there's no need for that, so I'm definitely going to work on cutting that out. Stay connected with your body. There are some really good types of workouts you can do that connect your mind and your body. So exercising in general is a great way to stay connected, and it helps you be more tired. So when you go to rest, you aren't overthinking as much because you're exhausted. So you just are like, yes, and your mind isn't at work as much. But it is also great because there are certain things you can do that connect your mind and your body. Two examples of that are very good when it comes to learning like mindfulness and rest and all that are yoga and Pilates. I know it sounds counterintuitive to work out if you're trying to be more more rest oriented, but it does tire you out, tires out your mind, and if you are doing something that connects your mind and your body, you're going to feel more connected to yourself. So when you need to rest, you're not going to get to the point where you are going to rest because you're forcing yourself, and it's going to be more of, my body says I need this, so I'm going to honor my body and do it. You're like a team. It's not just you versus your body. And for me, a lot of times I feel like it is me versus my physical body because I have so much I want to get done, but I can only do so much before I'm tired or exhausted or my body's worn out. So I almost feel like I'm playing tug of war between my mind and my body to get things done. But when you do things that connect those two, you're more of a team and you honor yourself more. So doing things that connect those two are very important. Keep a journal in general. If you have some thoughts that are keeping you from resting, write them down, journal about them, get it all out there. Honestly, when I journal, there is no boundaries. Like, I can talk about whatever, I can say what I need to say, I don't have to censor it. Whatever I need to say to get it out there, I put in my journal. But also, while I'm talking about the negative and maybe like working through trauma or whatever it may be, also make sure that you're keeping a gratitude journal, or if you're not, writing it down, say it out loud. Writing it down is so much more powerful. The most powerful thing you can do is write it down and then read it aloud, but writing it down is so important. It gets more ingrained in your mind. But if you are not capable or able to do that, it just seems like too much. I totally understand. I just say what I'm grateful for in the car on the way to work every morning. I do have a gratitude journal. I haven't written it in a while, so I would like to get back into it. It's on the list. It's just hard when you feel overwhelmed and exhausted already. It's on the list of things after I rest and kind of am able to look at everything from a clear point of view and then reprioritize. my life. Another one is just having the understanding that you don't have all the answers. Rome wasn't built in a day. It's just like the all-knowing ability to do that. Like, you're not letting yourself down because you take a break. Like, you shouldn't feel guilty for resting. You honestly should feel proud of yourself, because if you're running on fumes, you're going to get there a lot slower, and you're probably not going to do it as well as you would have if you took breaks and rested and had the longevity of that. So you should look at rest as more of a tool than a hindrance. Also, having the understanding that it's going to take patience, it's going to take time, everything isn't going to happen in a day, just helps you to fall asleep at night. Like, it just helps you be more accepting of the day when it ends. Like, maybe you didn't get everything done, you can accept it more and not be as upset with yourself when you know that tomorrow's a new day. You don't need to get everything done in one day, and you are going to be just fine. One thing that I also didn't really think about that is definitely helpful is to reduce distractions. So when I am resting, I can't do it in like my office, because then I get to sit and look at all the things I need to be doing. Make yourself a space that is a safe environment to feel like you're able to rest. Like, in my room, there's not any work stuff. I don't have anything in there that reminds me of it, which is why it's so important to put your phone away, because it is easy to look at my phone and say, oh my gosh, I need to edit this TikTok, I need to post this on Instagram, I need to reach out to these people, and you can do that from your phone. So technology has been a blessing and a curse in that sense. It makes work so accessible, but it makes work so accessible. So when you want to get away from it, you kind of have to be your own advocate, set those boundaries, and have self-discipline. But, for example, when I'm trying to meditate and get some rest, I cannot have any distractions. I can't have the dogs running around. I can't have Josh yelling while he's playing video games. I can't have the shower dripping. I can't have the TV on. It takes away from my ability to meditate and really listen to my body. So I have to set those boundaries and make that space for myself where I have a room where I can go and rest and do that. So reducing distractions really, really helps when you're trying to rest. It's okay to set boundaries. You're not being mean. You're not being selfish. You are giving yourself the ability to recharge so that you're not pouring from an empty cup. So definitely do that. And I think that you will notice a difference. Like, you don't really think about how much it bothers you until you get to experience what it's like to not have distractions. And then it kind of hits you that your life was like so chaotic before. Sorry if I'm having a hard time talking today. Words are just not wording correctly. But I thought I had more, but somehow all of the links got deleted. So I think it was a lot of the same thing over and over again, so I'm not going to beat myself up over it. But it is a little bit of a shorter episode, even though it was only maybe like 2 or 3 more things that I was going to talk about. But I hope that this was beneficial for you in some way. Like I mentioned, if you have any other helpful tips, I would love to hear them. I would love to have a conversation about it. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. Watch it if you're on a platform where you can. Every single follow, like, comment, rating, or review means the absolute world to me. Like, I do a little happy dance, I squeal, I act like a little kid. This podcast is my world. I love you guys, and anytime that you show that love back, it just makes my heart so happy. So I'm so grateful for you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me and hopefully get something out of it. So I love you so much. If you're watching this on the Sunday night it comes out, I hope you have a great night. I upload every single Sunday and Wednesday. If you're listening to this on any other day, I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or night. I will see you guys on Wednesday, and I love you so much. Bye, guys.
You was the first